sound of shattering glass pierced the air as Emily stumbled into the hotel room, her heart racing. She wasn't expecting anyone to be here this early. Her phone buzzed again, a message from Mark, her husband, saying he'd be working late tonight. Relieved, she composed herself, thinking her secret was still safe, but little did she know she was walking into the heart of a carefully set trap. Mark had always been the trusting type. Too trusting, perhaps. Their friends called him the perfect husband, successful, kind, and utterly devoted to his wife. But over the past few months, he had noticed changes in Emily, secretive phone calls, late-night outings with vague excuses, and the distance growing between them. Though his heart broke at the suspicion that gnawed at him, Mark needed to know the truth. And when the truth came to him, it wasn't through Emily's confession, but from a series of messages and pictures he found on her phone. Messages from a man named David. Emily's betrayal wasn't just an affair, it was a complete unraveling of their life together. Instead of confronting her right away, Mark devised a plan. Cold, methodical, and unforgiving. If Emily was going to destroy their marriage, he was going to make sure she felt the consequences. He booked a weekend at a luxurious hotel and let her believe it was a gift for some alone time. He knew David would be joining her. As Emily adjusted her dress in the mirror, her mind raced with guilt and excitement. She told herself that this was just a fling, nothing more than a distraction. But deep down, she knew it was wrong. David was charming, spontaneous, everything Mark wasn't. But he wasn't her future. Mark was steady, reliable, and safe. She never intended to leave her husband. She only wanted something different. But fantasies have consequences, and Emily was about to find out just how steep the price of her distraction would be. Mark's trap was already in motion long before Emily even realized it. Cameras, hidden discreetly around the room, captured every moment. The hotel staff was in on it, having been tipped handsomely to keep quiet. As Emily sat nervously on the edge of the bed, waiting for David, the door creaked open. But it wasn't David. It was Mark. The air froze between them as Emily's face went pale. There was no escaping now. Her husband stood in the doorway, his eyes filled not with anger, but something far worse, calculated indifference. "Expecting someone else?" he asked, his voice eerily calm. Emily's words caught in her throat, her body trembling under the weight of her own betrayal. Mark took a step closer, his expression unreadable. "I gave you everything, Emily. I trusted you. But I guess that wasn't enough, was it?" His voice didn't rise in anger. Instead, it was heavy with disappointment and the weight of inevitability. Emily's mind raced as she tried to form an explanation, but what could she say? The evidence was all around her. Before she could speak, Mark pulled out his phone. With a few taps, he revealed the videos. The cameras had captured it all. "Do you recognize this room?" he asked, holding up the screen. The video showed her entering the hotel room with David the previous night, laughing and unaware of the hidden eyes watching them. Emily's heart dropped into her stomach. "You thought you could keep this secret from me, but the thing is, I've known for a while," Mark continued, pacing slowly around the room. "I wanted to see how far you would go before you came clean, but you didn't, and now you've left me no choice." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Mark, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. It was a mistake. Please, we can fix this. I'll end it with David. It's you I love." But Mark wasn't listening. His plan was already set in motion, and her pleas only fueled his resolve. "Love," he scoffed. "You threw that word away the moment you stepped into this hotel with him." Then, in one final act of cold precision, Mark revealed the full extent of his revenge. "By the way," he said, "I've already spoken to the lawyers. Our divorce papers are ready, and you'll find that you're not entitled to much. I've taken care of that too. You see, Emily, I might have been blind in love, but I'm not stupid. You'll get nothing." The realization hit Emily like a tidal wave. She had underestimated her husband's quiet intelligence, mistaking his kindness for weakness. In this moment, She wasn't just losing her marriage. She was losing everything. "And David?" Mark added, his voice dripping with disdain. "I made sure his wife found out, too. He won't be a part of your life anymore. He's gone." Emily collapsed onto the bed, her mind swirling with the finality of it all. Her affair had cost her everything: her husband, her reputation, her future. And in the silence that followed, she realized just how alone she was. Mark turned toward the door, his hand resting on the handle. "Goodbye, Emily," he said softly. "I hope it was worth it." And with that, he walked out of the room, leaving her to face the emptiness of the life she had destroyed. Emily sat in the silent hotel room, her mind a whirlwind of regret and despair. The reality of her choices came crashing down all at once. She had underestimated Mark, thinking he was the predictable, safe option while she sought excitement elsewhere. But now, in the aftermath, she saw the truth. Mark was far from predictable. He was ruthless when wronged, and he had left her nothing but the wreckage of her own making. David was gone, Mark was gone, and so was the life she had known. There was no second chance, no fixing what was broken. She had gambled everything on a fleeting affair, and she had lost it all. Conclusion: in this tale of betrayal and revenge, Emily learned the harshest lesson. Trust, once broken, can never be restored. Mark's quiet vengeance was not loud or violent. It was precise and devastating, leaving Emily with nothing but the ruins of her own choices. The life she had taken for granted was now out of her reach, and the price of her deception was everything she once held dear.